Okay, I gave you my 10 signals as to when the correction or the crash is going to occur. That was a video I guess I did on Saturday. And then on Monday, I gave you a video on how to profit while there is a correction and how to move into the correct position to profit when the correction or crash occurs. So the only thing left is, when's it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Well, you can't time the market. No, I don't. I'm not suggesting I can time the market, but I can look at what's happening and give myself a window into the future that may be right or it may be wrong, but if I look into it, I can pretty much determine what the parameters are going to be so that if it does happen like I think it is, I'm aware of it before it happens. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today, because I think beyond the 10 signals and beyond what to do when it happens, I can pretty much spell out when it's not going to happen. What is the time frame of what's going to happen over the, let's say, the next year, and how do I want to position myself accordingly? So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to give you my time frame as to what's going to happen in the stock market over the next 12 months and how you can prepare for what I think is going to be a correction and where you should put your money. I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor, built one of the largest financial planning practices in the United States within the Ameriprise system, and now I share my knowledge and experience with my tribe. My tribe is Best of Us investors. If you want to become a part of the tribe, if you want to dig deeper into the kind of things that I talk about, go to Best of Us Investors. You'll see there where you can give me your name and your address. That's your email address. I don't care where you live. And I'll send you an invitation to join our Discord. At our Discord, I will share my portfolio. I will share my trades as they happen. So if you think I have any kind of clue as to what I'm talking about, maybe you ought to join our tribe. There's about 18 going on 20,000 of us right now. We want to build that to an enormous number so we gain an advantage. We share our knowledge, we share our experience, and we turn into a quantum computer. Stay with me. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen the rest of this year.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Grinkmeyer.
Let's break it down. When will the correction occur? One of the most important things that has happened relative to when this correction will occur happened between January the 25th and the 29th. You were too busy wondering about the impeachment trial to even know that it happened. It was the Davos agenda. It was a meeting of the minds of the biggest corporations virtually, and it was centered around Davos, Switzerland. It's a annual event that couldn't actually take place because of the coronavirus. And at that Davos meeting, they talked about what is going to have to happen into the future. And I've alluded to it in the past. Basically, the theme was, this can never happen again. And we've got to put the things in place to make sure that it never happens again. And as a result of that, and a few other things, you and I can pretty well predict what's going to happen relative to a correction. As you saw in my prior videos, I'm calling it a cash storm. There is so much cash coming into the markets worldwide as a result of relief programs that cash is having a difficult time finding a place to land. It has pushed our stock market up tremendously. It has created an enormous number of SPACs. In a prior video, I go into that in detail. It's created a celebrity SPAC agenda where anybody and everybody, including Shaquille O'Neal, wants to raise $250 million in order to help someone take their company public. It is a phenomenon that has never occurred. And again, understand it's because of the enormous amount of cash that is raining down into our economy as a result of the relief programs. So as we move forward, then we have to just be aware of when that fire hose of money it turns off. Now, as we look forward into February, we know that the impeachment trials are behind us, so Joe and Kamala are now working on that next relief program of $1.9 billion. Let's just call it $1 trillion. I don't know why we're talking about it. Anyway, that fire hose is going to keep coming. That's going to keep the market going. So we know that. We know that on February the 28th, the moratorium for foreclosures and evictions comes off. That could put 5.6 million families out on the street. I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe that Joe and Kamala and Congress and whatever is going to create another program, which is open that faucet, open that fire hose a little higher to keep those people in their homes, okay? So I believe there will be money going that way. Then we get to March. Okay, we're okay in the stock market now up through all of February. In March, the unemployment benefits drop off between basically March the 14th and April the 5th. I predict that there will be a continuing, they'll open the hose a little bit, a lot more, and then more cash will come, and that will continue to keep people afloat. So we have now probably pushed through the end of March another $1 trillion into the market. So is the market going to crash between now and the end of March? I don't think so. I just don't see how it can because, again, the cash flow is going to keep coming. There are going to continue to be SPACs. There are going to continue to be IPOs. The market is going to continue to rally because of the cash storm. Until the cash storm stops, the market isn't going to turn around and correct. Okay, so that takes us into April, May, and June. What is going to happen then? What the impeachment's behind us, whatever happens to Donald and Donald's family happens. It's going to be interesting news. But what we have to watch is, does Joe and the Democrats and the Republicans start talking about catching up on the 5G build-out? Do they start talking about rebuilding our infrastructure? If you hear conversations of that nature in April, May, and June, there is not going to be a correction because that's more money coming back into the economy. Now, they're going to justify that by putting people back to work. If we're building out the 5G, if we're building out the infrastructure, remodeling our airports, paving highways, we're putting people back to work, and we're in good shape, and the market will not correct. Again, this is my interpretation. Don't make it any, it's not written in scripture. This is my interpretation. So I'm okay. I'm in the market. I'm still in the market through the end of June. People a program to keep people in their homes. Something relative to Fannie Mae or Jenny Mac or whatever, some sort of government relief program that is going to help restructure the mortgages, the rent payments, the rental community, something to keep that going. That brings us through June. July the 24th through the August 8th is a rejoining of the world sports community with the Olympics. If that happens, again, it's a mood. We're all still working together. Now we get through that, and what I want to know is is the word taxes coming up. is the word interest rates coming up. If I start hearing that, okay, the economy's up and going well, things are going better, it's now to recapture, it's time to recapture some of that, what? At this point, it's probably going to be $12 trillion that we've pumped into the economy since April 2020. We've bailed you out, folks. It's now time for us to recapture some of that money, and we're going to need to tax the wealthy, and we're going to need to tax the corporations. This won't just be the United States. This won't be, okay, then we're taking our corporation over to Ireland. This is going to be a collective, international effort to reset. Reset. Remember those words. A lot of people don't like them, but remember those words. Okay, so we're now in August. It's going to be declared VV Day. That is when probably Dr. Fauci says, Carrie, you can take off your mask. This is victory over the virus. Used to be VJ Day. That was victory over Japan. That was back in 1945, if you don't remember that. VV Day, sometime in August or early September. We now have the reset, we have the tax bill, wealthy and corporations, and we're going to recapture some of our money. Now is the time to wake up. Now is the time to be watching that stock market very, very closely. As I told you, there is a converse relationship with the Treasury bills. You should be watching that graph. You should have a graph that shows you the S&P 500 and then the Treasuries. And when they start turning in opposite directions, wake up. The market's going to correct. Okay? If you don't see that, don't worry about it. But watch it every morning. Watch the VIX. See if there is a fear factor coming in. Because when they start talking about taxes and interest rates, the fear is going to go up. We're then going to move from a risk investment, the stock market, the big nine, the whatever, the biotech, and we're going to see a risk adverse market. And that's where the correction occur. What is going to be behind this that you need to be very aware of is we are going to go through a economic reset of our world. I want you to watch this video. This is the pulse of the people who control the world you live in. This is the pulse that's going to set the tempo as to where you should and should not be invested. Watch this.
See, at the start of 2020, 1% of the world's population owned 44% of the wealth. And since the start of the pandemic, billionaires have increased theirs by more than 25%, whilst 150 million people fell back into extreme poverty. And with climate change set to dwarf the damage caused by the pandemic, the message from 2020 should be abundantly clear.
Capitalism, as we know it, is dead. This obsession that we have had with maximizing profits for shareholders alone has led to incredible inequality and a planetary emergency.
As you saw there, the rich are getting richer. They just 25% increase in the wealth moving to the 1%ers and 150 million people moving into poverty. That isn't acceptable. And as a result of that, you're going to see a change. You heard the words. I'm not going to repeat them. You heard the words relative to capitalism. And that was a substantial figure in our business world. Okay? You need to be aware of it. Okay, so as an investor, you need to recognize things are going to change. I want you to also, if you don't believe that, pick up this weekend's Wall Street Journal. It is on the same thing, the future of everything. This is all about how our world is going to become a more compassionate place, we're going to become greener. We're going to we're no longer going to pollute the earth we live on. That is, if you didn't get it from Davos, Switzerland, pick up the Wall Street Journal. This is what investing is all about. Now, you may not like it. You may say, that's a bunch of communists, that's about conspiracy. That's irrelevant. If you're a politician, if your life is all about politics, okay, go down that route. But if you're an investor, open your eyes. This is where the world is going. And if you want to profit from it, not change it, if you want to profit from it, you need to get in front of it. You need to recognize it and say, hey, I don't believe in global warming, so bullshit. Okay. But that's not where the world's going. That's not where the profits are going to be made in that attitude. Put that aside. Are you an investor or are you an activist? Are you a politician? And you're going to fight change. Make a decision. If you're an investor, get on board because the train's pulling out. And if you think it's all a conspiracy, if you don't think there's any way this world's going to unite for the betterment of humankind, we're all going to keep just trying to cheat and fight and screw each other. Okay, that's the world you live in. Don't be part of Best of Us investors. We don't want that. We want to, your input is into what's going to change and how can we benefit from it. Okay, there's going to be a reaction to this. It's going to require, as it was stated, a realignment of how we think, how we tax, how we regulate. That will create fear. That will create anxiety, and the market will correct. When is this going to happen? If I were a betting man, which I am not a gambler, I am an investor, I'm betting it's going to happen in the fourth quarter of 2021. And it will be ultimately for the betterment of our society, but on the short term, it's going to create panic.
Get us anywhere, because everything we've learned in our work has shown us that diverse voices lead to better results. And it's for these reasons that the forum talks about something called stakeholder capitalism, which would shift businesses away from just profit. Because
if we want to change where the focus of our recovery will go, then we need a new dashboard for the new economy. And that needs to encompass people, planet, prosperity, and institutions.
Giving people a real stake in the economy and putting well-being before growth. And that's all about getting the right people in the right place at the right time.
And you're going to see the market come tumbling down. And that's when you're going to want to move into treasuries. And that's when you're going to want to look at that line every morning. How are the treasuries moving relative to the S&P? And that's how it's going to happen, according to Carrie Grinkmeyer. What I care about is what is the pulse of our world going to be, and how can I get in front of it? How can I profit from it? If you want to be a part of this, go to bestofusinvestors.com. Give me your email address. Give me your name, and I'll send you an invitation to our Discord because we're going to change the way investing occurs. I have three objectives for you. One, make good investment decisions. That's what this video is all about, making a good investment decision. Number two, I'm creating an atmosphere where you can learn about your tax code so that you can keep more of what you make. And number three, our number one goal, even though it's number three, it's number one, is to build family wealth. You have the right, as a United States citizen anyway, I don't know about other countries, to pass just shy of $2.24 million on to your heirs. It should be your objective. That's what our objective is here, and that's how we're going to do it, because we know what happened in Davos, Switzerland between January the 25th and the 29th, and we know what's going to happen in April, May, and June, and we know the Olympics are going to happen in July, and we know that in August we will declare VV Day, victory over the virus, and we know that shortly after that, we'll start talking about taxes, we'll start talking about regulation, and the market will panic, and we'll profit off of it. Okay, that's my take for today. Come back, let's talk again tomorrow.